What up, what up, what up? It is Friday, February 14th, also known as Valentine's Day, known to some as Black Love Day, since it happens during Black History Month. I'm joined with a Gen Z couple, Deshawn and Kayah, and we are about to get into all things Black love. How y'all doing today?
I'm great.
Good.
It's a
Feeling
day,
love?
like you said.
Love that. So let's just start right off the rip. How did y'all meet?
Ooh. That's always such a like, am I gonna give you the real long answer or am I gonna give you short, sweet to the point? Do you want to take it? I could do it.
I want you to go.
Okay, so in freshman year of high school, we both were a part of a math and science program. So we basically met at nerd camp, if we're gonna keep it short, sweet to the point. Um, yeah,
This
and
program.
it was called Math and Science for Minority Students, or MS Squared.
Where was it? Because you're from
Oh,
New York and
yeah,
he's
I'm from
Chicago.
Brooklyn. He's from Chicago. And it was in Andover, Massachusetts. So we met in Massachusetts.
Okay, very cute. So this goes back to high school. Love it. And continue.
We were scholars. I don't know. I don't see why people would want to be doing math and science in the summer on purpose, but we were one of them. We were one of them.
Hmm.
And we actually met in English class, which is so funny because it wasn't even it wasn't math or science. But we met in school.
Wow. Okay. And then what do each of you like about the other?
Oh, so many things. Yeah, I wouldn't say like there's an absence at all. I love her fortitude. I love her commitment to her community. I love her intelligence. I love her laugh. I love her face. Yeah. I love the deep friendship that we share too. Like, we just touched on it, but I want to say this past summer we've been friends for 10 years and this is gonna be my forever friend. So um yeah, if I had to like name anything shorthand, I would say that.
Mm.
For me, I guess I'll start with his character as a whole. He's very genuine and passionate about the things that he loves and cares about. Um, but something that's really important to me is sense of humor. Like, are we gonna cackle about the same thing? Are we gonna think the same thing is funny? And we do be we be laughing. So that's something I enjoy.
I love that. So you said the friendship is coming up on the 10-year anniversary. And then how long have y'all been together for this relationship?
We're like what? Let's say a year and 7 months.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Ooh, almost two
Been good.
years. Okay. And what comes to mind when you think of Black love?
It's really complex for me because it can be the beautiful romantic things that we get to see more often now, gratefully, but it's also like persevering through hard stuff and adversity, um, and like still being committed to each other after that. Yeah, I think about like my parents too. My parents have been together and married for almost like 28 years, I think.
Wow.
Um, so yeah, like it's possible. It's just it requires work. I think about work.
Mm.
I have to speak to the other side of that. I think my mother has been married now for maybe it's 2025. Wow, she's been married now for I want to say about 7 years, but for most of my life, my mother raised me as like a single parent. Um, and I grew up around a lot of women. So subsequently, I got to like kind of see, from a child's place because they don't want to share too many details, but I got to kind of see like what it was like to like date and to sometimes do so unsuccessfully and to like not really have the most strong, solid sense of like what Black love was like. It was almost in the same realm as like fairy tale. I mean, when I was a lot younger, because we didn't really see too many successful examples. I didn't really have any family members who had been married long term or were married at all. So it was something that like I had to come to form my own conceptions about and learn to seek health through.
Mm.
That makes sense. But I think when I think about Black love today, it feels warm. It feels fulfilling, like a home in essence. Like, it's a place where you can go to readily be understood without having to overextend to, explain yourself. Like, I don't have to ask her why she has her on her sexuality. Like, I'll be there and I love to see it. Like, I can celebrate her in that sense. In our
Ah,
career senses, like, she sees me with a do rag on almost all the time and, she loves it. So I get to take solace in like being in a place where like culturally I don't have to explain myself. Um,
Mm.
Focus on, just cultivating that love and embracing the love between those people.
Deshawn, you kind of touched on this at the end of your answer, but I wanted to ask specifically, how do y'all show Black love to each other?
Mm. The first thing that came to mind, this might be, I don't know. I'm gonna answer though. The first thing that came to mind was learning how to play spades. At my big grown age,
Yeah,
okay, I feel like there are certain things that people don't want to teach you. You might go to the function. If you don't know, don't sit at the table.
That's
But
true. They do say that.
like right, the care and intentionality of like taking the time to explain the rules to me, like that was black love for me.
I would say a great example that we also have is we have a shared love of music. Uh, Music has been something that has continued to keep us very close. In Black music, there's just so much of an abundance of great artistry that we've seen like in the last year alone. So I think even from the early days of being here, like, we would sit together and have listening parties. Like, we listen to Spino's album together, we listen to his album together. So um, taking the time to like sit within those collective experiences that were also cultivated by other Black people, I would say is an example too.
Oh my goodness. So, Deshawn, you kind of touched on dating these days, and the Gen Z generation can kind of be all over the map romantically. Have y'all seen the show Pop the Balloon?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, yeah, I literally seen homie pop a balloon because of a shorty's niece. That was his reason. She has a scar on her knee, so it can get very specific. What are your thoughts on dating right now in the overall ecosystem of some of that nonsense?
Do you want to go first?
Um, Somebody told me a couple of years ago that the dating pool is full of pee, and I was like, "Ooh, you might have ate with that one." But I think the hope comes from either the belief internally that there is somebody for you, or um, just the notion that while you're in the waiting season between finding that person and where you are now, that there are different ways that you can cater to your community. Like all the love that you would be pouring into somebody else, you can pour it into yourself, you can pour it into your friendships, you can pour it into like different areas in your community. Um so it's hard and it's ghetto out here, but at the same time, like the qualities that you would want in another person, you can start to develop and embody.
I
Mm-hmm.
agree. I would say for me, if I had to say anything, I'm grateful to be dating Kayah. I'm grateful to be dating you. Like, um, I agree. The dating pool is full of pee. It was full of pee when I was out there, and I think what I've come to appreciate is not having to experience that anymore. Like, I'm so grateful to not have to go through the processes of dating, vetting individuals to see what their intentions are. Looking to kind of mold myself and be flexible to like, a bunch of other like, women's like desires and potential characteristics. Like I get to learn her. I get to continue embracing what it's like to be with her and to cultivate skills that are like gonna make me successful within this space and
Mm.
to feel secured within it.
Yeah.
So I am grateful that I don't have to go through that. And for those that are going through it, I think Kaya's advice is really like reminiscent. Like, if you're not necessarily finding yourself having the most success dating romantically, I think it's very important to always be reflective and to do the work about like maybe what other avenues of life are you neglecting while you're searching for fulfillment in this one place. Where else could you contribute to?
Mm. Exactly. I like how you didn't give it. All right, y'all be easy. You didn't give that answer. You gave something that could actually be helpful. And I have another context question, which is this Black Love Day also comes as Black History Month has started, and President Trump has rolled back DEI policies, has plans to dismantle the Department of Education, and so many strongholds that the Black community really relies on for various things. How does Black love push you through some of that tension or just tension in general?
Mm. I was confiding in my mom about where I was emotionally given everything that's happening in politics. And something that she reminded me of was that this isn't the first time that we've had to face something big and daunting and challenging. Um, and I think it's because she's been able to see um, how you grow as people and as society over time when you're faced with a lot of hardship and the different ways that you get to be creative and to get around things, and the innovation basically that comes from being put into like hard circumstances. Hard is an understatement, but circumstances like this. um so I felt encouraged by somebody who I know is optimistic and faithful to her own like idea of hope. So I think black love is hopeful in times of like confusion and chaos. It's something that can ground you so you're not losing your mind, even though it's really easy to lose your mind. Um, yeah, it's hopeful.
Mhm.
I have to agree. Even I would say hope is like a paramount thing, and we have to continue like prioritizing. But the other aspect for me is community. It has to be community because when our communities are finding themselves like at the brunt of or being the ones directly attacked, uh, resistance takes many forms. You know, love is resistance, joy is resistance, an active planned organization is resistance. But we have to have a basis within community to do so. And I find myself grateful that I get to do so both with Kayah, but also like with our mutual friends, um, because we get to come from a place of creating that joy. We get to cultivate it intentionally, but to also keep ourselves informed and to create different ways that we can actively push back against these different things and hopefully continue to turn the tide what's been seen before. Because, like your mom said, this isn't the first time these kind of things have been leveraged against us, and we've survived then, and we're going to continue to do so. Like our Black joy is our existence, and we won't be eradicated.
Mm, mm.
Facts.
Okay, so no spoilers. I don't know if there are surprises involved, but what are y'all's Valentine's Day plans?
There are surprises involved.
Got
Um,
it.
but I will tell you about the one that she does know about. So the plan for today is we're going to go out and she's been really wanting to do some pottery recently and some decorating. So
Yeah.
I found a nice place in Maryland to take us to, getting some good food before then. Maybe do some exploring. It's a really like small city called Ellicott City that will be around. So looking forward to just like, go disconnect a little bit from the happenings and just take the time to be here.
Ah, I love
Yeah.
it. You have a real advantage because Valentine's Day is on a Friday today and a holiday Monday, a long weekend. So I know you're taking advantage of that extra day.
You know,
Yeah.
Okay, I think that was everything. Let me just double check. It feels like I'm a little short, but I shouldn't have told y'all to answer short because it was
I could
great.
talk about what else we got planned for Valentine's Day.
Oh, it's more? Oh, cut.
Oh.
My bad. Go.
I love a craft. So pottery, yes. But I've been really into puzzles recently. So we're gonna do a puzzle and eat gummy bears and probably watch the Vampire Diaries because I'm gotta catch up. And I'm really excited about that. And we're also taking a day trip to Philly. Philly has my heart. Go birds.
go
Um,
Just
birds.
fly.
yeah. So I'm
Mm.
excited about that too.
Ah, incredible. I was in Philly for Super Bowl weekend
Oh,
and
really?
yes, the electric buzz of energy. And I watched the game at a black-owned sports bar. You
It
can't,
hit different.
it hit different. I mean,
And I know you had a great time.
I'm a forever remember that one. That was tough. Okay. Okay, two more. Deshawn, you talked about healing. And both of you mentioned how Black love is like perseverance and also joy. How has your perception of Black love evolved over time?
Mm-hmm. I can speak to that. I have to be a bit transparent and cringe a little bit of my former self, but growth is always important. Um, I think when I was a lot younger and trying to step out into burgeoning romance, I wasn't very successful for different reasons that don't really matter at this point. But I had a kind of jaded perception around it. Like, I had the idea that, like, these girls, they just want hoopers, they want game bangers, people with money, all things that I consider myself to not have. And for that reason, I had found myself a bit jaded. So the healing was very important. And I think it began to come after I was able to begin having my own dating experiences and to, get out there and to get into other places where I was much more appreciated for the character that I had to bring, and for who I was. And shout out my mom and her genes because they kicked in and made this a lot easier. So, yeah, I would speak to that. I think I had to really change my perspectives about, like, forming negative stereotypes about, like, women and, like, what they were looking for. Had to find out how to talk to women, period, because, like, you can form these ideas all day long, but if you don't have community with women, if you don't really know from their mouths what they're looking for, like, you're going to be wrong every time. So I think both having a space to change my own mind, becoming much closer friends with different women in my life, I was able to do a lot of healing in that
regard. Love that.
For me, I've always been a romantic in my brain. I always knew that I was gonna, be in love and feel the butterflies. I grew up watching all the movies, kicking my feet. But something that I didn't factor in was that the other person can't read my mind. So I have to do the work of communicating, which, we still working on. I love that we have therapy now because that is helping a lot. But just the general idea of vocalizing what my desires are because this person may not know, but also being mindful and considerate about how I communicate, what the expectation is for me to, like, say what I need or what I like or what I don't like or what we should stop doing or anything like that. So my experience with Black love has changed from just being like this fairy tale and romantic to, like, having more of an understanding about how powerful communication is.
Oh my goodness. Thank y'all both for your transparent answers. I wasn't expecting this conversation to get so deep, and yet it. Thank you. I feel compelled to end on a happy note.
Yeah.
So what's next for y'all? Almost 2 years, this 10-year friendship.
Okay, we going to Chicago. This is my first time going to Chicago in March to meet his family, and I'm really excited. I'm excited to eat. I'm excited to meet his family. I'm excited to explore the city. I have a travel journal, so I'm excited for stickers and to just add new memories to that together.
Oh, love that.
I think that really is a sentiment. We're grateful for, like, each opportunity we get to, like, go and learn each other in new contexts. Like, she's gonna learn so much about me in this trip. Just where I went to high school, what my environments used to look like, what my favorite food places were. And these are all things, like, we've been able to discuss and talk about in our time. But it hit different. It hit different when we've been able to really go out there and experience it together. So whether it's Chicago or whether it's wherever we meet for our anniversary, the general gist is continuing to be present here and to learn each other here and continue cementing and building skills to, like, make this fulfilling and
Thank you, Deshawn. Thank you, Kayah. Y'all are putting on for the Gen Z Black love generation.
Yay.
Y'all are completely, not completely single-handedly, of course, but taking away from some of the nonsense we see on Pop the Balloon and other dating shows that just, I don't think realistic at all. So thank you both. Any last, like, Black love comments that you want to make that I didn't touch on?
I want to more so pose a question for all of us. I would say, like, who's your favorite Black couple?
Ooh. Mm.
Do y'all know the Henrys? Yvette Henry and Glenn Henry. They're a family. They have 4 children. And they're really big on, like, YouTube, Instagram, like a social media family, but their brand is rooted in like Black fatherhood. So their Instagram page is called Belief in Fatherhood. And I really like them as a couple because the mom transitioned from being a teacher to kind of like a stay-at-home work mom, but their platform grew when Glenn, the dad, had to stay at home. So it's just like bending what gender roles are and what they look like in a Black like household. But their kids are also so beautiful and funny, and now they're like growing up, so they have their own personalities, and it's just nice to see them.
Love that. I love seeing people loved well. I'd have to go with my parents just because I had the up close personal view. They just celebrated 34 years in marriage
Oh,
and
Congratulations.
I am so proud of them. They both came from single parent households. They both were the first in their families to go to college.
wow.
And by all odds, they could have easily just followed that same path, but they decided they wanted something different. And when they met each other, they were so clear on like, I want a family, I want a marriage beforehand, I want a house. And I really admire like knowing what you want and finding someone who also wants that instead of trying to bend and, maybe make it work with someone who isn't. And also, it's one thing to ask someone, well, how do you resolve conflicts or how do you do XYZ? But it's another thing to see it in real time, the argument live, not just the post game reaction. And so yeah, at that moment I thought, but no, like let's look
Yeah.
at it now. There was no like let's go to our room to talk about this. They did that in the living room. And I'm really grateful for that. I don't know if it was on purpose or they just didn't think to separate, but it was really eye-opening. And then if I had to pick a celebrity couple, golly, there's so many beautiful Black love couples. I do love me some Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union. I
Just
like
look at
that they
that.
found each other later in life. I like that they had a past and it didn't matter to each other. And they both have $1 million smiles. What is their teeth regimen? That's what I want to know. So, yeah, very cute.
No, I agree. I would have to say I love OG on Viv and Uncle Phil.
Oh, that's
That
a good one.
Yeah.
I really did appreciate. And we spoke earlier about like gender roles and like I am for being flexible, but in my heart of hearts, I've always dreamt of like, having a family and providing.
Mm.
That's just what I want to do. So seeing how Uncle Phil was able to like cultivate that and like, it was a display of wealth in its own sense. Um, but seeing how he was able to cultivate that and then create community around it, with the inclusion of like, people who weren't even in the direct family. Yeah, I love that for them. And then the way that like, they continue to hold each other down through the notions of parenting and like just Uncle Phil just knew not to play with Uncle.
He
And
did not
yeah,
play.
he,
Yeah.
with her, he was playing about her. And that's always been the sentiment.
And I feel like what you just described is exactly why I cannot watch Bel Air because the
Oh,
new Uncle Phil just is not believable to me because I have OG
mm,
Uncle Phil in my head.
you make a good point. All right, y'all are making good points. I really like Bel Air, but you're right. The way that it evolved, you're right.
And I
You
gave
gotta
it a
make
good shake, like the first season, half of season two, and it just maybe because I was comparing them and I shouldn't have done that, but yeah, OG Uncle Phil all day.
it's hard not to compare.
It's hard not to, especially when it's a remake of a beloved show. Anywho,
Yeah.
don't even get me down that rabbit hole. Okay, you two lovebirds, we'll let y'all fly away now. Thank you so much. Have a great Valentine's Day weekend. Appreciate y'all making time on your day to show love to each other. And yeah, I hope everything is just you feel the love, you feel the care, and you feel the hope that you described today.
Thank you.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day to you too.
Thanks.